Practice squad week 6. We still got it.
Of course it's okay for fans to criticize players when they get injured in real games because it has fantasy implications. And fantasy is huge. There are 59 million people playing fantasy football. That's more than if you combine the population of the top 5 U.S. cities. It's a $7 billion industry. That's more than the GDP for 47 countries. So players have to be okay with it if they want to keep cashing checks. No one really cares about your feelings.
Domonique, but you don't get it. Like, these are real people. They've set goals their whole life and they have it snatched away from them. You've never been in a room after an MRI when the doctor walks in to crybaby? You calling me a crybaby? You never played the game? You never put your hand in the dirt? Soft.
What? What'd you call me? Soft? You don't know me like that. Once these glasses come off, the beast come out. You better shut your mouth unless you want to see me.
One thing you punched was a calculator.
You still talking? I'll take... Oh, you won't shut up. You don't know me. I'll beat you down to the molecular level. I'll make you say my name.
Entertainment.
Doctor,
we got cameras, lights.
I don't make them down there. I don't care where you at.
It's going to be all right. I like fantasy football. It's fun. We can do it. You want to start a league? No? I draft your team.
I'm coming right now.
Please?
I can't get this off, but I'm going to get you in the producer.
All right, here's the last little spinoff of that, this particular conversation. What do you think would happen if Colin Kaepernick got signed tomorrow?
If they had just signed Colin Kaepernick in April, none of this would be a thing, and that would have been great for business.
Seems like a manipulative move, but I do think bringing Colin Kaepernick back now would probably intensify the conversation for a second, but it would kind of let the NFL off the hook to some degree. And you're right. It's like they have such, you would think that so many people who built major businesses would have a better idea of long-term planning. But I guess that's what happens is you get caught up in these short-term things. And the thing that felt good to them in the short term was, no, I'm not bringing Colin Kaepernick into the league. But it's obvious that it would have been better in the long term if you brought him back.
Yeah, it's almost like they're not the brilliant businessmen that some people assume. Well,
you know where I stand on all that. I used to think that they were brilliant businessmen. Then I started to work with them and was like, hey, these guys are average dudes who got really lucky and worked really hard. Like, none of them are really geniuses.
Yeah, it's not the hardest. It hasn't been the most difficult business to run over the last 20 years to grow and make money. Let's just say that.
Colin Kaepernick's activism has cost him his career, but he isn't the only athlete paying the price for kneeling during the national anthem. High school and college football players are following in Kaepernick's defiant footsteps and have been disciplined by their teams for their advocacy. Today, we salute the grassroots demonstrators who are taking their grievances to America's backyards. Take Jairi Durant, a backup quarterback for Division III Albright College. Durant has chosen to kneel through the national anthem twice this season. After the second time, he was cut. Halfway across the country, Michael Lynn III, a senior quarterback at Lansing Catholic High School in Michigan, was benched after kneeling during the anthem earlier this month. But the repercussions for his actions didn't just stop on the field. Jairi and Michael are not scholarship athletes or millionaire professional football players, but they do have a purpose for kneeling.
My reason for kneeling for the anthem is to silently, peacefully protest, the social, racial injustices, inequalities in the country, to protest the police brutality amongst African Americans and minorities.
I decided, the message that was being put out was being kind of misconstrued and kind of twisted into something that it wasn't about. So, the protest was for racial inequality and police brutality. Instead, it's being turned into a political protest and a political statement. And I didn't think that was right, that it was being twisted into that.
Like Kaepernick, Jairi and Michael aren't backing down. Hear them reflect on the fallout from their decisions.
There was, of course, consequences. And, I got benched for the first quarter and a little bit of the second quarter. And then I finally got to play the following week.
After my kneeling, I was kicked off the team, let go by the coach.
There's grown men and women texting me, welcome to life, B-word, stuff like that. Like, I'm a 17-year-old kid. Like, honestly, it's crazy, but you know, love will always win over hate.
Jairi and Michael accept the consequences for their actions, but it doesn't justify the way that they've been treated. They're not playing for tuition, national acclaim, or the prospects of millions of dollars. They play because they love the game, and they weren't reprimanded for violating rules or laws, but rather for peacefully calling attention to American realities.
I knew this decision could result in something like this. I knew the risk and consequences, but you know, I was willing to take those and fight for what I stand for, because at the end of the day, it's more than just me. It's more than just football. This is about the reality and the real life that we really have to go through.
Football for me, like I said, is the next 4 years, but I'm gonna be black for the rest of my life.